topic today. We are going to look into it. Probably we are going to take 2 sessions for this, yes, because it's a theory-based question. There's few things which you need to remember, which was done way back into the first or second classes in under third module. So what I have done is I've put it in form of a pictorial representation, or what you call in very simple words under this. Okay, and I want to look into this before we move into the pattern evaluation. See, what is the thing we talk about here? We are taking about all the association mining rules. Okay, we talk about association. Okay, and we talk about all the rules that we have generated. Right now, we are trying to evaluate this. That's very important. Okay, we are trying to evaluate. What is the meaning of evaluate? We are checking whether whatever we did, this association rules, association patterns and all, okay, we are checking whether whatever we did this is ultimately providing you with some sort of a very good result or not. That is what we need to look into this last part called evaluation of association rules or patterns. In exam, what is going to the question? The exam will be a straight question. Okay, explain the evaluation of association rules or evaluation of association patterns. That is what the question would be. So what you're supposed to write, you are supposed to write all those things that are related to it. Now, when I say evaluation, what you're going to do, you need to start right from the first, talking what is association, association rules, association meaning. Okay, then you talk about something called as support, something called as confidence. Okay, all those things you say, and then you say that each and every you must be knowing by now that lots of these rules will be providing lots of patterns. In that, how efficient these are. Like that, you need to go with the flow. Okay, nicely you need to go with the flow because it's a theory question. You got to be careful. Okay, got to be careful in analyzing this and also understanding this. Okay, so let's sort of look into it. Okay, let's sort of look into that. Before that, probably you will be knowing, right? One important thing that you got to keep in mind is, if you think of this entire third model, one thing I can easily say is association analysis algorithms, whichever are there, have a very good potential to generate what large number of patterns, right? They can generate large number of patterns. For example, if you take a data set, say for 6 items, they can produce up to say hundreds of association rules. Okay, if you take 6 items, you must be knowing, I have taken this example, I have told you also, if you take 6 items in some sort of a transaction, it can produce lots of association rules. Okay, taking one at a time, two at a time, one two at a time, one three at a time, one four at a time. Okay, like that it can produce lots of rules. If the size increases, okay, if the size also increases, which basically means the number of items is also increasing, and also the dimensionality of it. What is the meaning of dimensionality? Number of items per transaction. If that is also increasing, okay, then the number of rules will also increase. So when you think of this as the size and dimensionality of real commercial databases, real commercial databases is the ones which real life databases, they are very large, right? They're basically very large. Commercial databases will be very large. We can easily have thousands or hundreds of, okay, thousands or hundreds of rules that are getting generated here. That's very important. Okay, so what is going to be the problem? Finding the patterns among all these things. Okay, the patterns that identify the most interesting ones. That is the first keyword that you are going to look for here. You need to identify the one which is first of full of interestingness. Okay, that's a right word. Most interesting ones is not at all a small task, right? Because what is the thing that you can think of here? Some person may be looking for some sort of interest, and other person may be sort of discarding it. So what is the other way of talking about it? The way of talking about it is very simple. One person's, okay, one person's interest. You can think of like this: one person's interest or one person's track. I think. Okay, hopefully we're back. I don't know what is the problem there. Okay, fine. See, what is the thing that you can think of here? One person's interest. Okay, one person's interest may be other person's trash. So you can write it as other person's trash. What's the meaning of other person's trash? Some person may not like it. Okay, some person wants to have some sort of a pattern, other person may not be having it. So all these things you got to keep in mind. Okay, it is very much therefore very important to make sure that you establish a well settled, okay, well settled or well accepted criteria to do what? For evaluating the quality of association patterns. Evaluating the quality of association patterns. Okay, so how do you do that? Okay, how do you do that? That is what you are going to sort of learn in this entire concept. Again, I'm telling you, it's a lot of theory. Okay, you need to start right from the first to understand the things that are there. You're not going to sort of decide, okay, I'm taking this one. X rule X is better than rule Y. I'm saying, okay, no, no, no. Rule X or rule A is better than rule X and Y. We are not going to come to any sort of conclusions like this. Okay, because we are only talking from a theoretical point of view. We are not going to come for any sort of conclusion parting like this. We are only going to say, okay, this rule is like this rule is like this rule is maybe like this, like that. So we're only going to talk about it. We are never going to say with a conclusive part that hey, this rule is better than that one. No, we are not going to say. Okay, that should be the tone of this entire question which you are going to look for. It's called, okay, evaluation of association patterns. Very important if you don't know the tone of what you are trying to write here. So what we are going to do is, even when the PPT what I'm going to give, okay, it will be in sort of a flow. It will be more like a story. Okay, it will be more like a story talking about, okay, this is what it was. Then we came across this one. Then we talk about, okay, no, this was because of this. This is what we got. So compared to this, in these situation, it will be like this, like that. In form of a story, we are going to write this. Okay. But before that, probably if you need to get to know the certain things, then it will be very easy. What are those certain things that you got to keep in mind? Okay, first and foremost thing is, I don't know how many of you remember, so I'm just going back. Okay, I put the same thing in form of a word here. The PPT once only I put it here. Okay, of course the diagrams have all changed and all. Okay, so I'm just going to sort of, okay, hopefully you can see it now. Okay, so let's look into this. Okay, what are the things I'm trying to say? Now, any person who goes to a grocery shop will have some sort of a list of whatever he or she wants to buy. Okay, so you can see very clearly that each shopper has a distinctive list. Fine. Then what's the next thing? The way of taking those things may vary. An housewife may be taking right for family dinner. Okay, she may be buying things for a family dinner. A bachelor guy may be buying these things. Okay, of course, people will be doing it, right? A bachelor guy may be buying these things. Okay, it doesn't mean that after married he'll not buy this, but bachelor guys he'll generally buy them. Okay, so understanding these patterns, buying patterns, very important. Buying patterns can help you to do what? Can help you to increase the sales in several ways. So that is a very important thing. Okay, increase the sales in several ways. Okay, I'm just going to underline where and all we know the keywords are there. See, these things only you need to start the answer. That's what I'm talking about. You need to start the answer right from talking about the association, and then you keep on going with it. Okay, so if you take in this, what you can think of if there are a pair of items, say X and Y. Okay, if you got something called an X and Y, if they are frequently brought together, if X and Y are frequently brought together, what and all you can do? Both X and Y can be placed on the same shelf. That is one way of doing it. Okay, and so that what is a thing that can happen? Buyers of one item can be prompted to buy the other item. If they are frequently brought together, you put it them in a same shelf. Okay, what's the next thing you do? Promotional discounts can be applied to one out of the other two items. They're brought together. Okay, X and Y are brought together. So for X, you promote the item by doing some sort of a discount offer. Okay, so person who is buying X will obviously compelled to buy even Y because X and Y are always brought together. Okay, next, advertisements on X could be targeted at buyers who purchase Y. So a person who wants to purchase Y will be seeing X and saying, okay, there's lots of ads there. Every time people are, getting to know it, so let's me buy X also. X and Y could be combined into a new product. This is what majority of the things that are happening nowadays. So what they do, okay, they do what is known as flavors ones. Okay, people, I think many of you will be knowing it, how things work about this. Even you take off ice creams, they say this is of this flavor, this flavor, this flavor. You got vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, Oreos, so many flavors. Why? Because people eat strawberries, people eat ice creams. People eat, vanilla, people eat, ice creams. Not vanilla, maybe something like chocolate and ice creams. So what they do? They combine both chocolate and ice creams and say chocolate flavored ice cream. Okay, so that's what the last part do. X and Y could be combined into a new product having Y flavors in your X or X flavors in your Y. Okay, so what is the thing that you can see? We have very certain items that are broadly, frequently brought together. The question is, how do we uncover this association? Okay, how do we uncover this association? Besides increasing sales profits, what does the association, rules even do? Can also be used in other fields also. What are the other fields? In medical diagnosis, for instance, understanding which symptoms tend to comorbid can help to improvement the patient care and medicine prescription. This is a classic example of our corona situation. Okay, people who got corona will always be worried because of their comorbidities, especially people who have heart-related problems, diabetics, high blood pressure. Okay, these are called comorbidities. That is where people will be suffering a lot. If it's not just because of corona, it's because of these comorbidities that people tend to have a very critical situation, right? So that's what it becomes very important. This is association analysis. You got this corona thing, and what is the association rules that is going to come with it? All the comorbidities that you have. If you combine those two, then it's a very dangerous combination. Okay, like that. Association rules is a technique to what? To uncover how items are associated with each other. Okay, there are three common ways to measure the association. You would have studied all these things, so only I'm just going with a little bit faster means. Okay, because after this, there's nothing there. Okay, you are only talking about the one you are going to take examples and you are going to talking, whether this is a right one or not, whether this is not a right one or not. Once we are able to do that, then that's the end of the model. We studied so many things with regard to association analysis. Very important in that would be probably the A priori algorithm, FP growth algorithm. Okay, two things that will really come even in your next semester. Okay, next semesters that are going to come, analytics and your machine learning. Okay, A priori and FP growth algorithm. So only I made it a point. So if from a mathematical point of view, we would have given that in your internals also. Okay, so with regard to the support, what are the things that you have? This is how popular an item set is as measured by the proportion of transaction. That you call it as support. See these, definition keywords. It is also there in your internal things. Okay, so what you are supposed to do it, you are supposed to give a definition of it and also an example for it. Okay, those two things needs to be done very carefully. What is support? This shows how a popular item set is measured by the proportion of transaction that you have in it. Okay, so what is the thing that you have? Think of the ones that you see here. Probably you can see very clearly what is the table that I have. Okay, I'm going to put all these things. It is already there in your PPT. Okay, you don't have to worry. Okay, it's already there. So because my job is to, again, I'll be sending a PPT by around Wednesday, Thursday. Second module you have already have it. Third module I'll be sending by around Wednesday. Okay, fourth one you're only going to look into one topic, classification. Okay, what is classification and all? I think that only you are going to get, so not a problem. Okay, one or two topics maximum. because fourth and fifth model are again a very important models for your upcoming semester. So we want to go a little bit depth into it again. Okay, so what are the various transactions you have? You got around 8 transactions in this, and I'm going to talk about the support of. We can see very clearly what is the the example I've taken. I need to talk about the support of Apple. Okay, which is 4 out of 8. What is the meaning of 4 out of 8 or 50%? It means only one thing. Okay, out of the 8 transactions, you got 4 transactions where you got Apple. Item set can also contain multiple items. Okay, you got something like Apple beer rice is out of 2 out of 8. What is that support? Support of Apple beer rice is 2 out of 8, which is 25%. Okay, you can see very clearly. Okay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 8 transactions. You got 4 transactions which has Apple. 50% transactions has Apple. Maybe thinking it looks like tomato and all. It is Apple. Okay, now you can see this. You can see the milk pot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 transaction as apples. Sorry, milk. And you may think of the other thing. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There are 6 transactions which has beer, which basically means the person who is buying this is probably a bachelor. Okay, you got 6 transactions among 8 which has beer, and 2 ones which has I don't know, maybe chicken something. Okay, chicken something which has uh, 2 out of 8 which has non-veg things. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 out of 8 which is with regard to rice. This is what you call it as support. See very carefully, please understand again, this is something which you have already studied. I'm saying it again because I need to take all these things to a place to say what is the evaluation of patterns. Okay, so let's look into this. Okay, then what is the support of the Apple? You get 4 out of 8. What is 4 out of 8? These 4 divided by 8. Okay, then you go to the next part. Okay, if you go into the next part, before we go into the next part, this is something that you need to learn. Okay, what do you mean by support threshold? If you discover that the sales of items beyond a certain proportional tend to have a significant impact on your profits. If it is having a significant impact on your profits, then you can consider that as your support threshold. Okay, so what we can do, what is the meaning of that? It means only one thing. Okay, you can keep that as a base. Okay, you can keep that as a base. I am an agriculturist. Think that I'm growing my tomatoes or apple. I'll take apples itself. Okay, I'm growing apples. Of course, apples can't be grown in the southern part of India. I don't know how many of you know it or not. Very, very rare that you can grow apples in southern part of India. Maybe a very hill station that you can, that too, the quality of it will not be to an extent of what you get in a northern play, northern part of India, especially the Kashmir region, the Himachal, the Uttarakhand places. Okay, it's not be that good. Or from the Western countries, which majority of our people do, sort of export things. Okay, that you got to keep in mind. The same thing happens even with regard to your mangoes also. The southern part of India has a lot of different varieties of mangoes which you don't really find that much. Of course, Uttar Pradesh has a good amount of mangoes. Okay, there's some good amount of mangoes even in West Bengal, but the northern part, okay, the extreme northern part of Kashmir, the Uttarakhand, the Himachal Pradesh, the Punjabs don't have that. Okay, again, it's based on the climatic regions. Okay, see, we are going to take all those things as examples in the next model, the classifications and all. Okay, lots of things, because there are few things which even I'm learning, which probably I want to share with you as an example for classification. Okay, so we're going to do two things there. Identify things. So what is support threshold? Okay, if you take that as a base thing, okay, now if I can sell 5 kgs of mangoes every day, that is my threshold. Anything more than 5 kg, okay, then it will be having, it is breaking the threshold and it is bringing me good amount of profit. 5 kgs is my break even point. Okay, it's my break even point. Anything more than that, good. Anything less than that, no, not so good. Okay, that. Now next thing is you look into what is known as confidence. So one first thing that you learned is measure. So sorry, support. The other ones that you're looking for is now known as confidence. So what is it? What is the means of confidence? It says how likely an item Y is purchased when an item X is purchased, which basically means if you are buying X, are you buying even Y? If you are buying bread, are you buying even butter? If you are buying beer, are you buying even chips? Okay, like that. Things that are going to come together. Things that are going to come together. How likely that an item Y is purchased when an item X is also purchased? Okay, expressed as what? X tends to Y. If I'm buying Y or if I'm buying X, I'm buying even Y. So you can see very clearly, if I'm buying X, I'm going to buy even Y. If I'm buying bread, I'm going buying the butter or jam. Okay, same like that. Is measured. How do you think this is measured? Proportion of transactions with item X in which item Y also appears. Okay, so in this entire thing, what is the thing? Two things I have taken. I have taken apples and beer. So what is the right hand side of it? The right hand side, as you can see very clearly here, it talks about X. When I say right, no, not right hand side, left hand side. Okay, I'm not, I have to take from the point of view I'm looking for. Okay, so from the left hand side it is X, the same old left hand side it is my apple. So if I'm buying X, I should even buy Y. If I'm buying my apple, I'm even buying my beer. Okay, so what is the thing that you got? You can see the contrast transaction where you have to have both the things, not just X, not just Y. You need to check for ones which is having both. Okay, how do you think that is happening? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you can't take like that. You have to take it as transactions. One transaction, 1, 2, 3, all three coming, two coming together. Okay, then any other things that are going to come together. Now you may be thinking of transaction 4. Transaction 4 doesn't have both the things. It has only what? Apple. And transaction 5, 6, 7 doesn't have apple. It has only beer. So these things you should not take. You should only take transaction 1, 2, 3. Because two things are coming together, are brought together. If you do that, what is the thing that you got? Support is equal to both the things like this divided by the support of your, what was the support, support of your tomatoes? Just, on the top of it, you got it here. Okay, support of it, just now you got it there. Okay, so what is the thing that you got? 3 out of 4. How did you get support of 4? You can see very clearly, only tomatoes if you take, you got 4. So that is written here, 3 out of 4. What is 3 out of 4? 75%. Okay, this is something that you got to keep in mind. But there is a drawback. This is where the entire answer for your evaluation of things will start. What is the drawback? The drawback is it might misrepresent the importance of an association. Okay, how do you think that can be? This is because it only accounts for how popular apples are. Okay, how popular apples are, but not beers. In fact, in this example, you can see which is the most frequently brought item, which is the most popular item. It is not apples, it is a beer. When you're talking about confidence of X tends to Y, even though you're taking tomatoes with regard to beer, tomatoes are not the the most popular items. It's the beer that is the most popular item here. Okay, so this confidence of whatever you're talking about, drawback of confidence measure is that it might misrepresent what? The importance of an association. Why? Because it only accounts for how popular apples are, but not beers. This is something that you got to keep in mind. Okay, so what is the thing that here? If beers are also very popular in general, then there will be a higher chance that a transaction containing apples will also containing beers. Now, if I sort of make this into a different pun there, okay, what is a different thing that you can think of? What is the confidence of buying beer along with my apples? First thing you need to know the support of what? Beer. What is support of beer? 6 out of 8. Right? You can see very clearly 6 out of 8. So support is with regard to only beer is 6. And tomatoes, if I'm buying that along with beer, it is 3. Okay, transaction 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 6. 3 out of 6 is, now the confidence I'm getting 3 out of 6 is only 50%. Whereas tomatoes to beer, if I sort of, alternate these positions, if I do the alternate of these positions, I get what? I get only 50% confidence. Whereas here it is becoming 75%. Okay, that is what is being written in the next line. It says it might, misrepresent the importance of an association. Why? Because it only accounts for how popular the apples are, but not pears. If there are also a good probability that there is a higher chance that the transaction containing apples will also containing pears, thus inflating the confidence measure. Okay, so to account all of this, to sort of figure out all of this, we come across a third thing. This is where the answer for your last part, which is evaluation of pattern, thing starts. So please keep that in mind. Okay, after this will be probably one more class for us to sort of complete that. Okay, anyway, no, not a problem. Okay, we'll easily do that. Okay, we still have entire week for us to do that. So what is the next thing? Okay, and also after this we are going to start with classification. Now easily we can do classification. Okay, uh, learn classification in a more detailed way as much as possible, because it's something which you people should learn. I think the first, no, first not, second program in your machine learning lab. I don't know about the new scheme, but the old scheme people, okay, the 17 scheme, the 15 scheme people, they used to learn that as a second program. Probably you people belong to the 18 scheme people, so I don't know. I have not seen the syllabus. I've got to know that it's both a combination of AI and ML. It used to be only ML for your seniors. So hopefully, I think AI and ML means there should be some sort of at least equal proportions of AI ML, or maybe some sort of AI or ML being more compared to the other ones. Okay, you can see that in 7th sem to come, and you can sort of work through. But before that, most important part is to make sure that you're clearing all of your backlogs when it comes to 5th sem. There's lot of people, okay, especially in ATCs and Pythons and all. Make sure that you people are clearing it. Okay, really sad to see such sort of a results in ATC. Okay, uh, it's a subject which should have been done in a way that, I don't know, maybe more like a DMS. Okay, where you're supposed to get a lot of marks in that. And when we sort of evaluated also, it came up to very good amount of some people getting out of more than 80s and all. But I don't know what happened to you people. Okay, anyway, fine. Okay, there's always good time for us to sort of go back and learn things, right? So account the base property. So we have something called as lift, that is, okay. This is something which you didn't study when I taught you all minimum support, confidence support, all those things. This lift is something which you are not learned. We need to keep this as a measure to sort of learn things with regard to evaluation. So what is lift here? This says how likely okay, hopefully you're back. Okay, Okay, sorry for the disturbance. Now, what is the thing with regard to lift here? This will say how likely the item Y is purchased when item X is purchased. Okay, while controlling how popular the item Y is. So this compared to confidence, it's a little bit different. So what is the thing that you can see? The lift of apple tends to bear is only one. So why it is that? Which implies that there is no association between the items. Okay, so what is that meaning of that? A lift value in table 1, the lift of what? Apple tends to bear. If I am buying apple, I am also buying my beer. You can see the first line. How likely an item Y is purchased when item X is purchased while controlling how popular item Y is. Okay. Now, what is the way of talking about it? The lift of apple, okay, tends to beer, or if you're buying apple, you're even buying beer, is one. Why? Which implies that no association between the items. What is that? A lift value greater than 1 means that the item Y is likely to be brought if item X is brought. Anything more than 1, okay, a value greater than 1 will be representing that. Okay, a value less than 1, what does it be saying? It says that item Y is unlikely to be brought if item X is brought. Okay, that is something that you got to know. Okay, what is the way of calculating it? It is like this: lift off, your apples to beer. What is the thing that you need to look for? Support of your thing with regard to apples and also beer. Okay, support of your apples and also beer, which basically means two things should be coming together. Okay, what are the if you look into here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, all two together, 1, 2, 3. That's all. Support of two things together is only 3. So the numerator here will become 3, right? 3 divided by support of this one, which is 4, into support of this one, which is 4. This is 6. 4 into 6. Okay, it's 24. Is it no more than 1? No, it is less than 1. Okay, 3 divided by 3 into 6. Okay, 3 into 6, 18. 3 divided by 18, 1 divided by 6. What is 1 divided by 6? 0.33. 0.33? Yeah, 0.33. Okay, so this, you can see very clearly is the new thing called lift. Based on this, okay, based on this only, we are going to learn about the evaluation patterns. We are going to evaluate the entire patterns based on these things. So you got to know, okay, why I did all these stories and all. Okay, even though you are learned, why you sort of learned all these stories, because to come together here. Could have started here itself, but that will not make sense. Okay, so we start from here. We start from here to learn about how the things are evaluated. Okay, how things are evaluated and what needs to be done under. Fine. Yeah, fine. So in the next class, I think it's already 11:40. The next class, in the Monday's class, we are going to sort of look into it. Okay, one more last things. Okay, with regard to taking lift as a thing, we're going to learn about last of things. Okay, and that would be the end of our third module. Okay, then the next few classes we are going to learn about classification in NEET.